The last sound Jessica Monroe heard wasn't the ocean waves rolling onto Miami Beach. It wasn't the faint music drifting from rooftop bars across the bay. It was the heavy, labored breathing of a man she once trusted, a man whose hands were wrapped around her throat, squeezing the life out of her 24-year-old body. In less than a minute, this brilliant young woman's future was gone forever, not by accident, not by illness, but by calculated, cold-blooded murder. Because what Daniel Mercer did that night wasn't a crime of passion. It was an execution, a carefully planned elimination of the one person who knew his most dangerous secret. A secret so devastating it could destroy his marriage, his reputation, and the powerful business empire he'd built in Miami's high society. But here's what's most chilling. Jessica's death wasn't fueled by money, jealousy, or revenge. It was sparked by something far more terrifying, a deadly diagnosis that transformed forbidden affair into lethal obsession. This is a story of how a seemingly perfect relationship between a wealthy married businessman and an ambitious student spiraled into one of Florida's most disturbing murder cases. A case where disease became a death sentence, shame became a weapon, and silence turned deadly. Because Daniel Mercer didn't just kill Jessica that night. He killed her to protect himself from a truth he refused to face. Tonight, you'll learn how a respected Miami businessman became a cold-blooded killer. You'll uncover the diagnosis that changed everything. And most importantly, you'll see the warning signs that might have saved Jessica's life. Signs that could one day save yours. This isn't just another true crime case. It's a reminder that behind the glossy veneers of wealth and success, darkness can grow unchecked. When secrets turn lethal, no one is safe. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will change how you think about trust, relationships, and the dangerous games people play when they believe they're untouchable. Daniel Mercer was 46 years old when this story began. To Miami's elite, he was the definition of success, a real estate mogul with multi-million-dollar properties, a fleet of exotic cars, and a glamorous wife, Caroline, who perfectly matched his polished image. They attended galas, appeared in glossy magazines, and maintained a marriage that looked flawless from every angle. But Daniel had a second life, a darker one. He had mastered the art of secrecy, discreet hotel suites, private dining rooms, and carefully chosen partners who were young, ambitious, and vulnerable. For years, he seduced and discarded women who were too intimidated or too invested to ever expose him. 6 women had already fallen into his trap before 2019. That's when he met Jessica. Jessica Monroe wasn't supposed to be at the exclusive rooftop bar at the Four Seasons Hotel that night. The 24-year-old law student from Atlanta was in Miami on a scholarship, invited only because her roommate wanted to celebrate landing a summer job at a prestigious firm. Jessica fell out of place among the city's elite. Her thrift store dressed a sharp contrast to the designer gowns surrounding her. But Jessica had something money couldn't buy: intelligence, drive, and a presence that drew people in. While others posed for attention, she sat at the bar, nose buried in a casebook, and that's what caught Daniel Mercer's eye. He didn't approach her with the usual wealthy man routine. Instead, he struck up a conversation about the case she was studying, information he'd overheard minutes earlier. He presented himself as a mentor, not a pursuer. To Jessica, it felt like fate. Someone older, successful, and encouraging who valued her mind over her appearance. To Daniel, it was just another performance. Within weeks, their meetings had shifted from study sessions to candlelit dinners in quiet corners of Little Havana. He told her the secrecy was for her protection. That gossip could ruin her reputation. Jessica believed him. She had no idea she was following a script he had perfected with 6 other women. But unlike the others, Jessica challenged him. She asked about his business ethics, his views on morality, his contradictions. For the first time in years, Daniel felt exposed, and that made her dangerous. 3 months into the affair, Jessica began experiencing strange symptoms: exhaustion, weight loss, night sweats. She blamed the stress of finals, until the day she collapsed during dinner with Daniel. Tests confirmed her worst fear. She had contracted HIV. Jessica was devastated. She had only been with one partner in the past year. The math wasn't complicated. Daniel Mercer knew exactly what those results meant. For both of them, Jessica's diagnosis could expose everything. Their affair, his lies, and his own infection. He had been diagnosed a year earlier, but had hidden it, ignoring doctors' warnings while continuing unprotected relationships. When Jessica confronted her with the truth, his mask slipped. He wasn't concerned for her health. He was furious about the risk to his reputation. "If you tell anyone," he hissed, "you'll destroy everything I built." From that moment, Jessica became a liability. Daniel's behavior turned controlling, paranoid, and violent. He stalked her, monitored her calls, even hinted at harming her family back in Georgia if she ever spoke out. He told her they were connected forever, and that silence was her only option. But Jessica refused to be silenced. She began secretly recording their conversations, storing the files in a cloud account set to alert a friend if she didn't check in. By June 2019, Daniel had reached his breaking point. He invited Jessica to the penthouse suite of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, claiming they needed to talk about her future. She went, hoping for compassion. Instead, she walked into a trap. The room was staged for romance, champagne, roses, dim lights. But Daniel's demeanor was wild, desperate. He accused her of being careless, of leaving digital traces about her illness. Then his words turned chilling. "I've decided how to fix this. I'm going to eliminate the problem." Jessica tried to run, but Daniel blocked her path. What followed was a 4-minute struggle that hotel security microphones picked up as muffled screams. Jessica fought with everything she had, scratching his face, clawing his Rolex watch, leaving behind evidence that would later convict him. But Daniel Mercer was stronger, and in her final moments, Jessica created the very evidence that would ensure justice. 7 minutes after her death, the hotel security system flagged unusual noise patterns. Within 15 minutes, Miami police had stormed the suite. They found Jessica's body staged to look like a medical collapse. But the bruises, the torn fabric, and the deep scratches on Daniel's face told the truth. Investigators quickly uncovered Jessica's recordings. Over 40 hours of conversations where Daniel admitted his HIV status, threatened her life, and described her as a problem to be solved. The case against him was airtight. Daniel was arrested at Miami International Airport 2 days later, attempting to board a private jet to Brazil, a country with no extradition treaty. His forged documents claimed he was traveling for cancer treatment. Even in his final moments of freedom, he was lying. The trial drew national attention. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence: DNA, hotel footage, digital files, and Jessica's own haunting voice from beyond. Daniel's defense tried to paint the murder as an act of mercy, claiming Jessica's illness was terminal. But medical experts destroyed that claim, testifying that with treatment, Jessica could have lived a long, full life. The jury needed only 3 hours. Daniel Mercer was convicted of premeditated murder, deliberate HIV transmission, and obstruction of justice. The judge's words were final. This was not mercy. This was calculated elimination. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. Daniel's empire crumbled overnight. His wife filed for divorce. His assets were seized. And his name, once celebrated in Miami society, became synonymous with greed, deception, and murder. Jessica's legacy, however, lives on. Her recordings saved future victims. Her courage to confront a predator forced conversations about secrecy, abuse, and medical stigma. Advocacy groups across Florida now cite her case as a warning. Secrecy kills, but speaking out saves lives. Daniel Mercer was executed in Florida State Prison on October 7, 2022. His final words weren't an apology. They were a complaint about prison food. And that's how the life of a man who believed he was untouchable ended. Not with power, not with luxury, but with disgrace and silence. Jessica Monroe's voice, however, still speaks. Her story continues to remind us: secrets can kill, shame can silence, and ignoring the warning signs can cost lives. Thank you for watching the Unknown Truth TV. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share to support more chilling true crime stories.